So we are just going with the discussion about role of SEBI. So basically, as all of us know, the Reserve Bank of India, the Central Bank of India, acts as a controller, especially for the short-term markets in our country. So when we talk about short-term markets, some of the money market instruments may be falling into the category of partially into the category of capital market also because of its the nature of long term. Maybe some of it is issued for 1 to 3 years. So in that case, they would be going with part of capital market. So broadly, if you look into the role being played by Reserve Bank of India, we can find that it's basically the role of a regulator as well as contributing towards the development of the entire system as a whole. So that's a primary role along with the other regulators and other institutional facilitators in the segment. So when we talk with the role of RBI, the first one, as all know, as being discussed by Sania and Akshaya, basically RBI, Reserve Bank of India, goes with the issue of currency. In fact, the sole responsibility of issue of currency, both currency notes as well as coin, is vested with the Reserve Bank of India. And of course, see, when we went with demonetization, lot of old currencies, during those period, a lot of old currencies were withdrawn by the central bank, were taken back by the central bank. Like we had 5 rupee currency and all. So it's all taken back when we went with new type of note issue. So that again is another function where maintenance of the circulation of the money, the good quality of currency note, and maintaining the adequate quantity and quality of money under circulation. All these are part of the role being played by Reserve Bank of India. Now going with the second function is the monetary authority. That is, when we talk about controlling the money supply in the market, primarily it aims at maintaining price stability. Now, what do we mean by price stability? Suppose if there is steep increase in price and if the money supply increases, automatically there is a tendency of the economy to fall into the category of high rate of inflation. High rate of inflation is not supposed to be good for any economy. So that is why there is a continuous monitoring of the money supply or of the circulation of the money is needed for every financial system. And that responsibility, again, primarily is taken up by Reserve Bank of India with the support of Central Ministry as well as financial institutions. So that is basically aiming at the growth of the economy, because if inflation is very high, automatically the prices will go up, and the people, especially at the lower strata, would be facing it difficult to cope up with the condition. They may lose their purchasing power. So they may not be having sufficient money to procure the basic requirements because the prices go up steeply in such a condition. So that is why, just to ensure that there is an equilibrium growth that is enforced in an economy, this money supply or money under circulation is controlled by Reserve Bank of India, which is brought under the category of monetary regulations. And that's why we say that monetary authority in Indian financial system is vested with the central bank, that is Reserve Bank of India. And then the third most important function when we look into that's very much related with the currency, which talks about foreign exchange, converting one currency to another currency based on the requirement for imports and exports and other type of foreign transactions. So again, even though the financial institutions actually render this function under the guidance of Reserve Bank of India as well as Central Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Primarily, the responsibility for drafting the guidelines and for deciding about flow of money into the market, deciding upon the foreign exchange rate. Of course, foreign exchange rate is based on the demand and supply, but there are certain control measures that have been adopted so that the rupee is not constantly depreciating against some other currency, maybe against dollar, maybe against euro, or maybe against yen. So that needs to be ensured by some authority, and definitely the primary responsibility of that is vested with Reserve Bank of India along with Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Of course, Ministry of Foreign Affairs will be taking up decisions which is in fact with the support of the Reserve Bank of India. So that's again another function of the central bank, that is management of foreign exchange in our country, which we cannot definitely say that it is purely part of money market. It may come and become part of capital market if, as we say, if the maturity period is little high. So that again is another function. Then we talk from the perspective of the regulator and supervisor of the financial system. When we talk about the regulator and supervisor of the financial system, the basic intention behind that is protection of the interest of different categories of investors in the country. So when we say that protection of different categories of investors, it can be small scale investors, it can be institutional investors, or it can come under the category of individual investors as well as institutional investors. Then there can also be small and medium business enterprises who come into the market, or it can be large corporations who are involved in the business in a larger scale, but definitely contributing to different sectors of the economy, like manufacturing sector or construction sector or many other. So that again is vested with RBI. That means what has been ensured here is no party is given with some extra benefit which can reduce the or which can have a negative impact on some other sectors in the economy. So that's why we say that protection of the depositors' interest as well as provide cost-effective banking services to the public. When we talk about cost-effective banking services, what we mean by is making available the services, different types of banking services to people at all strata, maybe the rural community, maybe the urban community, making available with the facilities so that the entire financial system is coming under the direct control of the regulators, maybe the Security Exchange Board of India as well as RBI. So when we talk about that, we can look in from some of the recent measures that is being taken by RBI for the protection of maybe rural customers. As you can see that more banks being started in different rural locations, or more financial products being offered to people of rural community, because one such product is the saving which is done on a regular basis. See, when we look into the rural community or people who are engaged in some kind of, as we say, the unorganized work in the unorganized sector, automatically their revenue may not be very huge. They may not be able to go with huge deposits in a bank, and of course they would be having like weekly payments every week. They might work for one week, and at the end of the week they might be given with payments and all. So the type of saving which they can afford to is totally different from that can be by a person who is having monthly income or salaried category of people, or maybe large scale business groups. So these people, if they have to be encouraged with coming up with a saving category or maybe saving option, they have to they have to be given with a product that is suitable to their kind of income, right? So that is why RBI, you can see, they under the direction of RBI, especially public sector banks are offering different saving products which are ideally suitable to these category of people. And there are different collection centers which are located near to the locality of this rural population, and the agents from these collection centers, they collect money from people on a regular basis, maybe during the weekly basis, and deposit in the bank on behalf of them. So such type of products are totally been designed for meeting the needs of those people. Maybe they were outside the preview of banking network. So the RBI, Reserve Bank of India, together with other regulatory authorities, they took up steps to bring them into the direct network of the, or maybe direct umbrella of banking functions. So that is why we can see that as a regulator, as a supervisor, basically what Reserve Bank of India is aiming at is protecting the interest of all categories of investors or maybe borrowers, all categories borrowers, because we can see that there are a lot of products which have been exclusively introduced for the benefit of farmers, like Kisan Credit or Green Finance, no, lot of exclusive products which have been introduced for agriculturists or farmers, small scale farmers, because they may not be able to repay this loan like the other type of loan, like regular interest loan, because for them the return will be coming up only after the harvest. So products needs to be designed so that it is suitable in such a way that they get some time span for the repayment. Otherwise, it will be unpaid. It will remain as unpaid, and the interest will be accrued to a greater extent. So all these are prevented by designing products which are suitable to the needs of the farmers, the local farmers. That again comes as responsibility of Reserve Bank of India with respect to protection of interest of the small or medium scale farmers, or maybe people who are doing business in the small and medium scale industry. So all these are taken care by regulator and supervisor. And at the same time, the supervisor role protecting means they are also the Reserve Bank of India, with the support of financial institutions, they are taking measures to prevent fraudulent transactions that is happening in the banking sector. Now we know that we have a lot of cyber security measures being taken. At the same time, the guidelines issued by RBI are in such a way that it is trying to minimize the fraudulent kind of transactions that are happening in the banking sector. That's why Indian banking sector is regarded as one of the best sector across the globe with respect to banking functions. And then regulator and supervisor of payment and settlement system, we can see that we went with core banking, we went with online banking system. We have now NIFT, or as you say, no, real-time settlement, or RTGS as we call us. And we have many other like UPI, payment systems, different platforms being introduced, and those are being introduced in such a way that there is ample security to the security offered to the public. Ample security means, suppose if I am having maybe many of you might have got different messages. Even you withdraw more than 10,000 from your account, automatically a message is sent to your bank account and an OTP will be coming. They will be asking, is it you who is actually withdrawing from your account? If so, you give the code, the password, the OTP which is sent to your mobile. Automatically, that's a background verification or kind of protection that's been offered by RBI in all these online payment platforms. At the same time, they have also made it convenient for the people with respect to the payment and settlements. We can see, even you can understand, maybe 5 years back, we did not have such a system where even now we can see that certain category of people, they prefer going to bank and doing their transaction. But you can see, especially with the younger generation, most of them, they go with going with the online payment, which has reduced the type of crowd in a banking sector. and they have made it, the service being available to the customer on 24/7 mode. That is, you can apply for issue of a checkbook through your online account. You can go with transfer of money through your online account. You can ask for some other service like, designated payments to different accounts, issue of draft. All these requests can be placed from your account. So that's the kind of, if you are ready to do that, definitely that is only because you believe, you are sure with the safety of your transaction, that is payment and settlement. So all these, again, another function, which is the main objective to that is public confidence in the payment and settlement system. Suppose if a fraud happens, you made your payment but it went to a different account, it's not only you who would be reluctant for the next time, maybe a group of people who became alert because of that fraudulent incidents in your case. So that's why production of investor interest is a greater affair for the central bank. And I believe a lot of investments being made in India in the cyber security aspect, which is trying to strengthen the kind of protection that is offered to the people across the country. Right, so that's maintenance of public confidence with respect to payment and settlement. And then we know that RBI, Reserve Bank of India, act as a banker to the government, meeting the financial needs. Then banker to banks, like as we say, liquidity adjustment facility, where we have talked about repo and reverse repo. LAF, which includes repo, is a case where RBI is lending to the banks for meeting the temporary requirement by taking government approved securities as the pledge. So that is, repo is they are purchasing those securities temporarily, and they are giving certain loan which can meet their liquidity crunch. Reverse repo is just the opposite, where suppose if banks are having lot of fund with them remaining idle without gaining any return, RBI can help them by taking this, absorbing this, or getting that as a loan from them, buying that from them. Automatically that will reduce the liquidity with banks, and banks would be getting a return for that, would be getting an interest for the loan taken by RBI. All these are temporary liquidity adjustment facilities that is being done by RBI for the purpose of, in fact, that can be broadly brought under the category of monetary policy regulation, because primarily this is done with respect to aiming at bringing a control in the market, control of money supply in the market, at the same time helping the financial institutions to meet their temporary liquidity requirements. Excess liquidity means taken out less, or they are facing some problem with liquidity, means they are being given with loans. So that's what we call as LAF. And the last function which has been taken up as one of the, in fact, all these functions contribute towards one major function, which is promotional function to support the national objectives. As the role played by a financial system is channelizing the fund from the savers to the borrowers to promote development and other economic activities in the society. So that movement of money is primarily channelized through the financial institutions, maybe in the capital market, or maybe they are in the money market, but that movement is primarily regulated and controlled by bank. Because when you talk about deposits, there is a financial institution. When you talk about shares, there is a financial institution like investment bankers. They help in collecting the money, depositing with the depository participant, all that. When you talk about mutual fund, there is investment bank. There again, the money aspect is taken by these financial institutions. When you talk about any other capital market transaction, you have a bank over there, a financial institution there. So for these financial institutions, they are directly under the control of central bank. That's why in a nutshell, we say that Reserve Bank of India is vested with the total responsibility of aligning the role of the financial system to achieve the national objectives. National objectives is the economic development, increase in GDP, a reduction in poverty, controlling the inflation, providing more job opportunities. Now you see from one of, I have mentioned a few functions, we can see that how does RBI help in poverty, or as a central bank, how does RBI help in reduction of poverty? Basically, it is through different schemes that's been channelized through financial institutions. For example, you have many schemes where financial institutions make priority sector lending. Priority sector lending means there are certain areas that has been identified as important towards the development of the nation, like providing financial assistance to the agriculture sector, small and medium scale industries, for the development of self-help groups, SHGs, all these being brought under the category of priority sector. So automatically, when the financial assistance is channelized through these sectors, that will provide more job opportunities, more income earning facilities or opportunities for the people in these areas, contributing towards reduction in the poverty level in the prevailing in the country. Then again, when you give loan to different industrial sectors, big corporations, what happens here is these big corporations, they will help in creating more job opportunities in the economy. That again is indirectly contributing towards the development of the country. Again, if you look into the case of GDP, how does gross domestic product, or as we say GDP, go with increasing when there is a lot of economic activities happening in the country, right? When you go with a lot of production, when our manufacturing sector is performing well, when our service industry is performing well, automatically what is happening here is an increase in the GDP. The gross production will increase. That again leads to an increase in the GDP growth, right? So when we talk from the perspective of contribution towards the development of different sectors, the major factor which decide about that is the type of financial assistance we provided to the sector, because ours is a labor intensive country. So when we talk about labor intensive country, one of the scarce resource for us is capital, and the supply of this capital is regulated under the control of Reserve Bank of India. That's why we say that central bank acts in promotion of national development by enabling, like if you say central bank as the nodal part, then you have many branches, that is different financial institutions coming under different categories, maybe public sector, private sector, or other type of development institution, but they are directly under the control. All these branches are under the control of RBI. So that is why we say that it helps in the development of national goals or achievement of national goals. So broadly, we can, just to summarize what we have discussed in today's class, broadly we can say that Reserve Bank of India, the function of Reserve Bank of India, or the role played by Reserve Bank of India for the development of Indian financial system can be: one is with respect to management of currency, that is currency management; two is with respect to formulation and regulation of monetary policy; then 3 is with respect to foreign exchange management; 4 is respect to the regulatory role, supervisor role that is being played by RBI for controlling the transactions that is happening in the financial system; 5 is respect to the payment and settlement system, ensuring an effective payment and settlement system; and 6 is with respect to fund management as no liquidity, or as I said, management of fund available with different parties, with different stakeholders. Finally, that's how Reserve Bank of India contributes to the overall development of the economy.